Welcome everyone. This is like my second interview since my little break, and I'm here with Mike Gamble, awesome artist. Again, thank you to Mr. Czar for helping me set this up. Really appreciate that. You've been super easy to work with, and it's really interesting to actually see your work because you've done like wood stamps and like, cool. I don't even know how to describe it, but then you've also worked with Tool and done your cool Fear Inoculum set. So,
Hmm.
welcome, man.
Oh, thanks for having me on. It's cool seeing, the Chet connection. It was like he was one of the first people to kind of like, fire me up to do art in the first place. So it was cool seeing that.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. I saw you
Oh
on
yeah.
this podcast too.
Yeah, it was such a cool little conversation. I'm hoping, now that I have a couple more, I was going to reach out to him, just throw it out. You ever got a lull again? You know,
Yeah, sweet.
why not?
And it's cool to see because he's like, he's a super massive inspiration for people. And then to see that an artist like you, who's done a crap load of awesome work,
Yeah, appreciate that.
came out of that. That's so
Yeah, yeah.
cool. It's the
It's
new
it's
generation.
Exactly. It's like very cyclical, and that's like kind of what I mean, I'm still very early on in like any type of career doing this, and it's just funny how that works.
Yeah,
It's you get inspired. And that's like a thing that I'm very much into. Like when anybody reaches out about doing art, I'm always just like, just do it. What's the worst that can happen? You know,
exactly. And that's a
you
great
made something.
mindset to have.
For sure, for sure. It's consistency.
Oh yeah,
Just
yeah.
keep doing it.
It's the same with my gig, because like
Hmm.
whatever interview I'll get doesn't really matter who it is. I'm still trying to push
Yeah.
it out and get it because work is
Just
work.
right, making content and like I guess, worst case scenario, you made something. It's regardless of where it goes.
Yeah,
And
and
it's like
it's
I was just like so the for me, it's like you have to do it just because you love it.
mm,
You're into it, regardless of what's going on in the world. I'm still gonna keep making stuff.
yeah, and it's art. It's not like
Hmm.
we're doing anything bad here. We're not hurting anyone.
Right,
It's art.
right. It's fun, you know.
Yeah, I love it, and I'm glad to see you love it too. Something I do want to talk about. Let's start with one question and then see where this goes because it's
Hmm.
super awesome when that happens. So it was awesome really watching you go from like you had an Instagram post where you said, I really
Hmm.
hope we can get this to Tool. I really hope Adam Jones
Yeah.
can see this.
Yeah,
And
right.
I mean, now we're at this point where I'm thinking that all your posters are going to get, like, all your art is going to get turned into Tool posters. Considering you've done the Fear Inoculum set, like, the
I
European tour
mean,
is coming.
I've already told it, and as of yet, nothing is on my, docket because it's just originally, honestly, the one was crazy enough.
Yeah.
Getting two more is even insane. So even if nothing ever happens again, I'm already like at the top of my, personal mountain. So, but yeah, as of yet, nothing yet, but I'm not gonna say no.
Yeah, of course.
You know?
And it's super awesome because on the Reddit they did like a ranking of all the posters,
I saw
and
that. I
you're
saw that.
consistently on the top. You're
That was crazy.
consistently on the top. It's beautiful to see.
Crazy to wrap my head around.
And it's like, everyone's freaking out that we've because you've seen the posters, right? Like there's
Hmm.
not many artists who do like the Chet thing or the Mike thing
Right,
anymore,
right.
which it's cool to see more art, but at the same
Hmm.
time, like three little girls on a Tool poster.
I see it from like as being a fan, I see it from both sides, and like now being in it, obviously I'm biased, and like like I said, truly see both sides of it. I can see where fans you get a personal connection with this band, and you want that similar theme vibe that's been their album artwork and whatnot. But then just from a purely art standpoint, like the band and I like got to meet Adam during this last tour, and I just told him I was like, what you do for artists is incredible, and especially like at my tier. Like I said, like it's interesting that some people like see. I mean, obviously the tour poster is a crazy gig, but it's still just like at the beginning of it's a gig.
Yeah, yeah.
So like what they do for somebody at my tier is incredible. I've been like so swamped in the best way with
Oh
just
yeah. I can imagine.
posters, say, and like people wanting to do the remark. I have a list of like I don't even know at this point, easily 40 or 50 people waiting to send their posters, do a painting
Hell
on it. So it's
yeah.
like
Hell yeah.
it's a good problem.
Oh
Good problem
yeah.
to have.
And speaking of your remarks, like those are beautiful. Like when
Thank you,
Chet
thank you.
and you do remarks, it like adds something more to the
Hmm.
art. and you get to make hella money off of it. So it's both
It's definitely
sides.
a bonus. And for me, like it was interesting. So I don't know if I guess you watched the Chet one. So he reached out in 2019, Adam, and it
Mhm.
was told. So I did the thing on Reddit. I saw that other artist, Carly, who was the Philadelphia poster, was like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
the DNA strand, like awesome, gorgeous piece. That gave me the idea. I do the first one. Adam reaches out like pretty quickly. I want to say it was like overnight of me just tagging him, and he just says poster art question mark. Oh yes, yes please. And then COVID obviously happens in March of 2020. So then tour disappears. The opera. So this was like years is going by, and continually keep making another one, and the whole point was just like to kind of like keep the foot in the door, you know.
Yeah.
I'll just keep reminding you and tagging you relentlessly, you know. And it panned out, but like again, I guess getting back to what I was saying at the beginning, like I will at the end of the day, I'm still going to make, you know, I'm still going to make these purely for my own, and whether it happens or it doesn't, you know, it was like a total luck, you know. I had a professor in college that really kind of hammered that home where it's like 98% persistence, and then that last 2% is just the right place, right time, you know.
I completely agree. It's the same thing with interviewing, right? Because I started in January. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have any. I got literally, I don't know if you know Callum Rooney, but he's this awesome poster artist,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
he was my second gig. And then I was wondering where do I go with this, and then I sent an email to John Dwyer, and I
Okay,
didn't get a response for like 3 weeks, and I thought it was over. But then I
right.
randomly got a response back, and we built off of it. And that was my first big interview. So like speaking to you and speaking to everyone, it's really only possible because I got super lucky. It's
That's how it goes.
crazy.
That's how
But
it,
if um if any tool members are seeing this, okay, please let's make it work. I've emailed
yeah,
you,
right.
and it's I don't know
Social media. That's the way the best thing I can suggest is just tag them, you know, DMs or whatever, you know. Social media is,
yes sir.
it's a double-edged sword. I hate it. I hate the negativity that happens on it, but then this, like for me, pure, it's like as an artist too, like putting stuff on social media is such a, I think it's what's the singer from the Melvins says, like
Oh yeah.
in relation to music wise, where like there's like this era of like the Napster and all that in the 90s and 2000s, and it's only a positive. You went from not being able to have anybody see, or like for me, not seeing my art unless I do a show, and then it's the 20 people that come to see the show. Now I
Yeah.
put it on my stupid phone, and 1,000 people see it, you know? So it's a blessing and a curse, you know? It depends on what you use it for. If you're productive with it, then it's a good thing, you know?
Mm. And it's crazy because you're completely right. Like we're in this world where if you post a piece of art, you can either get super famous and get all the gigs, or you
Hmm.
can get pummeled by everyone and
Yeah,
get immediate feedback, and they're like, I
right,
hate
right,
it.
right. So I guess back to that was what I was getting with it. So like from the inside, seeing the poster artist, it is great what it, and like again, I'm clearly biased, but like I actually have grown to really appreciate the breadth of work that they get. And for
Mhm.
me, I have gone to many shows, and I think 3 times now I get to the front of the line, and the poster's going. So the freakier, weirder the stuff that I'm praying I get the weirder,
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
can get
yeah.
a poster purely selfishly, you know?
That was like I skipped school for my
Oh my
Tool
God.
concert. Like my mom was so angry, but I missed like two classes,
Hey,
and I went and I got the last poster. It's on my table right there,
sweet,
and
sweet.
I
Which
remember
one was your show?
I'll bring it. Give me a sec.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, here. Let me show you this. One of my favorites off the
Oh
tour.
yes, this was such a good one, and it's embossed too,
It's
correct?
embossed. Yeah,
Oh
I can't
man,
really
those
see
are
that on.
so good, dude.
It was crazy because this is like the last one they had, and I was like, okay,
Wow.
screw it, I'll get it. And
Hmm.
I waited 2 hours in a gate, and no one showed up.
Huh.
And then so they opened the doors. I
Right.
ran, and I got another poster.
How about it?
It's crazy. It was easy, but
That was so I saw them in Allentown this year. I forget the
oh
artist. A gorgeous post. It was the like a snake woman.
oh
It
yeah,
was like
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of dark.
yeah.
It was a
It was
horizontal
awesome.
piece. And it was the same experience. So I get to the show and the first merch line, we just got it was in Allentown. It's like a couple of hours away from where we live. So
Mhm.
we just get there like at doors, not expecting anything. The first merch line is like a mile long. And then I found a
Yeah,
second booth. I figure, just take a shot. I get in line, and it was like no problem. I'm like,
yeah.
oh. And then of course the next two shows I go to, no shot. The Philly show, no way was I getting a poster. And then the Madison Square Garden, I ended up getting to see, and get to the show. We're like first in line, still no poster, no shot. I'm
It's
like,
crazy,
it's
but
great. The like fire for the and that's the other part that I really like. I don't even know if like Adam especially is aware of like the kind of fire that people have for collecting and like and growing like appreciation for like really what they do is such a cool thing. And like whether it's like truly coincidental or if he's really like, intentionally growing this kind of pool of artists, there's
yeah,
like this little collective now, and then there's like the different Facebook groups and Instagram groups of
yeah,
people, keeping tabs on all the artists and collecting their personal work. And it's such a cool and obviously privilege, this is like a mind-blowing experience to be on this side of it. I've been in the
yeah.
Reddit groups and the poster groups for the
I'm
past
still
10
in the
years,
Reddit, man.
you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Crazy.
I think I hope Adam knows because it's so funny whenever there's like a really weird like. Do you remember like the Shrek lady poster?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
I like that one.
and yeah,
I
everyone
dig
hated
it.
it, and then you go on eBay and they're selling for so much money, like
Well,
more than that, more than the norm.
I think like, again, getting back to like the positives and negatives of social media, it's just giving the voice to the people who are going to be vocal on the internet. But at the end of the day, there's always going to because I like when you go through some of the posts, you'll see tons of comments on every part of the spectrum,
Yeah,
and there are still people at every show, regardless of how bizarre you might think the posters. There's still tons of people that are saying this is great, this is so cool, this is I'm glad to see this kind of turn. So like
yeah,
they're gonna sell.
of
There's
course.
still somebody there. It's just not maybe their typical traditional whatever you want to say. It's like an interesting thing that once bands get to a certain level that there is this like push and pull with the like what the fans envision and then what
Mhm.
the band wants to do with their band. It's their IP. They can put whatever art
Yeah,
they want on it, you
and
know?
it's weird, right? Because damn, I lost what I was gonna say. Screw it. No, but I completely agree. It's like once you get to a certain point, but at the same time, when you look at it's like with your work, right? You see like the what you've done now with the
Mm-hmm.
tool work, and you scroll back, right? Like I was scrolling through Instagram, and you
Mm-hmm.
see your earlier work, and it's just super interesting to see the evolution. Like same with
Right.
Tool, you used to see Adam Jones's art, and you would see these like prehistoric creatures on
Yeah,
the
right.
poster, which
Mm-hmm.
is super sick. But now you have like full-fledged art,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it's beautiful to see the evolution. And I don't know, I think it's like it's needed. Like
Yeah.
as an artist evolves and as a band evolves, it's there's only time, it's only a matter of time before we see new work. So I don't
Right.
understand the hate. Like
Yeah.
when a
It's
band
like it's such a like again being one of the it was I've said it in some of the groups too when people really start going out like it's such a shame because like it's supposed to be the best day in somebody's life, and depending on
yeah,
like if you're into the band or not, it's such a cool huge opportunity and it's showing your work to literally like a million people on the internet. And I can see like reading sometimes when like that poster that people are calling the Shrek like like, part of me's dying reading some of the stuff. I'm like, man, like, because the worst part is they do it's like a joint post now, so
oh yeah,
it's
yeah,
notifying my phone every comment that you're leaving on Tool's post. I'm getting too, so like I can't even imagine. Luckily, knock on, like they've all been received well because of part of me as I'm seeing the tour, mine was like one of the last two this
yeah,
time,
it was, yeah.
like seeing the reception on some of these posters, and I'm like, oh, good God. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna get, especially with the first one because it was like it's my wife, it's like her face and the thing, and I was like, oh, they've not been too receptive of these so far, but look, it was good. So
Oh yeah, and you had some hard competition because it was like the Arizona posters were like
oh, they're great,
insane, and everyone was really praising it. And they're like, "No, no way you can beat this,"
right?
but you
I
pulled
thought
through.
that, what was it, Brian? I'm gonna feel so terrible if I get his name wrong. The guy that was in between mine and Corin was right after mine. Like, this is like when everybody keeps like the thing on Reddit, that like silly poll that they held. Like, I truly don't know how to wrap my head around it because in my eyes, all of these people are like sort of like Chet Zar and all of them. I
Yeah.
got to meet Julie. She's the one that was, I believe, right before Fresno, and then she was the two Madison Square Garden.
Oh yeah, those are awesome.
Just the nicest person, and also like her work. Like, again, this is like never would have known her work otherwise. She's like pretty local. She's on the East Coast, and then of course
Mm.
I'm looking at her art and like incredible stuff. So it's like it is such a cool little way to like funnel people into a world that maybe they never would have been exposed to otherwise. Like
Yeah.
the Alex Gray pool, because like that's when I was, in high school into college. It was like Lateralis, then 10,000 Days, and it was pretty much just Chet Zar, Alex Gray. I want to say that maybe there's like one or two other like visual effects artists maybe that had some
Mhm.
kind of affiliation, but that was really much it. And it's like the last maybe 10 years or so that they were like really just exposing tons of different new artists. It's such like a cool little thing, you know?
Oh yeah, and it makes me wonder, like, would Chet Zar, would Alex Gray have, have these empires? I mean, I don't know if I'd say empire, but have this
And
massive
they got a
following.
good following, yeah, yeah.
But would they have it if Tool hadn't had? What if Tool chose like a picture, like
Right.
a nature picture for
Hmm.
Lateralis? What would
Right,
have
right,
happened?
right.
Like it makes me wonder because I always get these posts from Alex Gray, like he's doing this workshop or he's
Hmm.
doing this sponsorship and he's like doing a scholarship. Like I
Right,
wonder, would
right.
he be able to make these other artists' lives better if he
Probably. I
had
mean,
been blessed by Tool? Like it's
probably not. I mean,
crazy.
it's like just from my own experience. Again, I'm only been doing this for like 10. I graduated college in 2010. Like, it is these little. It's just peaks and valleys. So every little peak, whether it's a gallery show, like a big gallery in Center City or in New York or whatever, like the CoPro shows, like those all give you little bumps. But like when, uh, even just like social media wise, when a profile like theirs that has that many people give you that little hit, it's gonna it's compiles. It's like compounds.
It's
you
like
know
compound interest, man.
yeah, right.
And it's beautiful to see because I mean, again, we keep going back to this, but these artists are getting bigger and better, and we're getting the renaissance. Like I talked
Yeah,
about
a
this
little
with
bit, yeah.
forgot who. I talked about this with someone. We're like, movies are coming back and we're getting
Hmm.
art is back, and this is the
Hmm.
year.
Right.
2024 is the year,
Yeah,
and it's great. It's great. So
I'll take it.
let's. I see all the records behind you, right? So what are some of
Hmm.
your like musical inspirations? Because when you look at your art, you think
Hmm.
Tool, you think
Right.
Opening Third Eye, but is there anything like else? Like I'm sure there is, but you talked about Melvin's.
Yeah, definitely the
Melvin's
Mount.
adjacent is like Boris. Do we see
Hmm.
any Boris? Or
Which I'm not. I have not delved too much into board. Like, I'll get my peak bands. I will definitely say like Soundgarden. I've
oh
seen
yeah,
them tons of times.
we're
Queens of
lucky.
the Stone. Yeah. Oh,
I love Queens of the Stone Age.
Queens of the
Oh
Stone. I
my.
think Temple of the Dog. That was another one of my. Chris Cornell's like discography is definitely up there. Like, just in terms of
Oh yeah.
musicianship, songwriting. Listen, like all my walls are just covered in tour posters.
Yeah, I see Tool at the very left.
Yeah, that was actually, so I got that on eBay when I was like 13 years old, and that is an original, whatever you call it, like the flyer, window flyer
Oh
for
yeah,
the
oh yeah.
venue, but it was their 93 tour, Germany, like Belarus or something. And randomly enough, they had what was that website? So now they have Tool Drive Project, I think it's called. So all of the live
Oh yeah,
recordings
yeah.
are all compiled. And before that, it was, I think, the Tool Collective. It was this very closed thing. You couldn't listen to any of the songs. He just had a like uh a list of everything that he
Like
had
a set
found,
list, yeah.
and you could go on to, and it was there's a name for it. It was like in the torrent days. I don't even know if you would even know what torrenting, and
Yeah,
it
I
was
know
like the
Torrent. Yeah,
LimeWire and all that kind of era.
yeah.
So you could donate one, and then he would give you a recording if you need it. But you could only donate if he didn't have it in his collection already. So just randomly on this website, I go to this purely to see like if what date this was, whatever. And when you get to that, it was like this little thing. It said that this is one of the like many Easter eggs of this website. This was like a very rare, random, weird show. If you know anything, and like I still never didn't get the recording. I reached out to him, I was like, hey, I got the poster. This is a cool thing I'll share with you. It didn't work. I didn't get, but now there's Tool Drive, which is great. I'm like
Oh yeah.
such a nerd for any band that I'm into. I'll listen to like the live of a random, the three times they played this one song kind of thing.
Yeah, and going back to Soundgarden, it's so funny you mentioned that because they got me into rock.
Oh yeah.
So I
No, they're
dived deep into like I didn't go into like the classic rock roots. Like I listened to a
hmm
little bit of classic rock,
hmm
and I found Soundgarden in like I remember sixth grade. They were doing like the like like when you're in middle school they do like the band auditions and like the orchestra
hmm
auditions. So
right.
there's like a drum teacher, and I walked up because I wanted to try it, and I had my Soundgarden hoodie on, which is way too big for me. And she was like, "Do you really know that band? Do you really know that band?" And I was
Uh-huh.
like, "No, I don't know that band." And it was like my first time getting recognition for my weird music taste. And like
Right, right.
I was in the hallway and there was this like maybe 60-year-old teacher who like was super southern accent. And she was like, "You listen to Soundgarden?" It's like and it's like it opens the whole music, it opens a whole
Yeah.
other world with your coworkers, with your teachers, and with your friends.
Hmm.
Like all these interviews I'm doing, I have like a group of friends. If you guys are seeing this, Connor R of I love y'all. And everyone, whenever I do a new band, they always check out the band and they're always like, wow, this band
Yeah,
is
right.
crazy.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so going back um to like the Tool, shouting out these smaller artists, it's with everything. Like it's beautiful to see that in this day and age, again, it's a good thing and a bad thing. But in this day
Yeah,
and age, I can go on my Spotify and I can find whatever the
right.
hell I want.
Anything, right. Exactly. Somebody that just made their first song.
Oh yeah, yeah, I just saw that with Bob
There you go.
Marley's what great grandson or something.
Okay, right,
One
right, right.
song, and I was listening to it, and it's for my taste, it's terrible,
Right.
but I
I
respect
don't
it. I
think I've heard it.
respect the grind,
Yeah.
and it's super cool to see the new bands.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just with anything, like it's like it's a tool if you use it. Like you have to be productive with it. And I'm guilty of like anybody. I'll scroll for hours and catch my like, oh no, I got work to do. Like that's like the double-edged sword of it. It's like you gotta
Oh
like
yeah,
you're your own worst enemy. You're your own boss.
yeah,
So you're the one telling yourself to go back to work.
yeah. It's I completely agree because it's when I'm trying to get interviews, it's like, do I want to get this break? Do I want to just
Right.
enjoy my weekend? But you're on the grind.
Right. And I mean, you got time. Like I just turned 35 and this is the beginning, honestly. So like and it doesn't, who knows, maybe you'll just keep compiling. This is just the beginning of but you just have to
Then,
keep at it
of
and you have
course.
all the time over. I used to think to myself, like every, 20, 25, there, like every single of these hard numbers, which don't even mean anything, you
Mhm.
like self-doubt and why, and everybody does. You compare
Of
and go like,
course,
oh,
yeah.
they're way up here. I'm still down here. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. You just have, again, you have to just keep doing it because you want to do it because it's
Mhm.
fulfilling. And then that stuff will have, and that will happen. If you are persistent, opportunities are going to come. Like I've had teachers, one of my college professors is now who I like share my studio with. And that is one thing that he would always say is like, he's getting these like cool opportunities at the international airport to do like this, like, I guess it was like kind of like a
Like a
grant sort
mural?
of thing. Or yeah, exactly. It was like one of the murals of his. He does woodcuts like that last thing I
Yeah, yeah.
posted. They blew it up, made this like huge thing, and it was more of like a, can't think of the name. It's like they basically like pay you for this time, set up your mural. It's kind of like a grant, similar to a grant. But
Mm.
anyway, so like you see these opportunities happening, and he was just so always saying, like, dude, like just keep putting it out there, and that opportunity, somebody's gonna see it eventually, you know.
Those are great words to hear. That's very reassuring to hear, especially in my
It's
position.
it's gonna be discouraging. I will let you. There will be many times where you're like, that's the thing where I do keep. I'll reiterate it 1,000 times to everybody is that it's persistence. There will be times where you're like, what am I doing? You know, maybe a year, a couple years will go by, and you're like, I haven't gotten a big hit in a while. I don't. I have. What am I doing? What am I doing with my time? And you have to do it because you enjoy doing it. You know. It's really the best part is like, and if you ever find yourself, because like there's plenty of times where you get in like a creative rut, just like visually, and you're not making, and then you get into that like cyclical
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
of I'm not creating, I should be creating.
It's like the roller coaster, right? And it's super hard to
Yeah.
get off the roller coaster, like the highs and the lows, and you're just stuck.
hmm But
But
it would if you persist, that passes, and then it make you gotta just keep remember there are those peaks, you know.
yeah, and I'm a very firm believer in the fact that loss makes art better,
I was
and
just talking
happiness
about
also
this
makes art
yesterday.
better. But
Yeah, unfortunately, like I am like very much like so Soundgarden, like all the bands that I really like, and all the songs that I think are the best songs are always the like heart wrenching, you know,
oh
like
yeah,
Since I've Been Loving You with Led Zeppelin, um,
I appear
like
missing.
I Appear Missing's the best, dude. Yes,
Yeah,
right on. That I will say is probably what my favorite. The Blood Is Love from what is that?
Eric
Lullabies is
Garris.
another
Oh
really
no,
good.
that's Lullaby's my fault. Yeah, yeah.
Is it? No, you actually might be right. I'm gonna. You
The,
might have actually called me on that one.
oh. Let's see,
I
because
think you are right.
I'm a little
No,
muddy on it.
no, it's Lullabies. It is
It's a
Lullabies.
Lullaby's. That's what
But
I
so
thought. Okay.
on Era Vulgaris too, though, there's another good one on that. That's like their peak, same vibe. It's
Oh
like
yeah.
heart wrenching, but like the greatest, ripping solos. That kind of thing is my
Oh,
like. That's my benchmark. You know.
and like I'm in Atlanta or like near Atlanta,
Okay.
and so we have Mastodon, and I've been getting into
Oh
Mastodon so much
yeah.
because
I got to get into them. I've heard
they.
like I think I saw them open for Primus maybe once, or
Oh,
they're good.
that's a crazy gig.
Yeah, they were good.
I'm trying to go see Primus. But yeah, so the subreddit really check out the subreddit. Everyone check out the
Okay.
subreddit because no matter if you're like pop, rap, jazz, Mastodon is this crazy force of nature. They're like Queens, honestly.
Okay.
Just because like they mastered the pop hook. Like same with
Hmm.
Melvins. They have
Yeah.
that pop hook and it's just like driving and it's beautiful. And yeah,
Hmm.
I Appear Missing, I put that on my
Yeah,
Instagram
it's so
and
good.
one of my friends was like, that's not a sad song. What are you talking about? I was like, man, you gotta if you don't experience it, you don't understand.
Right, right.
But everyone will get there someday. And yeah, Queens are just like they were the first real rock show I went to
Okay.
at
Yeah,
the
they were
Fox
good.
Theater. Yeah,
Right
and
on.
it was eye-opening, and we got all my
They're like musicianship wise, I think they might be like peak for me in terms of like how spot on like Tool's like pretty much neck and neck in that regard where they like can nail the live recording. And not
oh
that
yeah,
you
for
have
sure.
to. Like there's some bands out like Soundgarden. I saw them so many times. Kim Thiel, I think I always
Yeah.
pronounce his last name wrong. He makes a point where I think I saw him in one interview where he's like, I never play the same thing ever. It's like so boring to me. So he's like just shredding. Sometimes it's awesome. Sometimes like, oh, you kind of missed that one. But like it is what that's live performance.
Oh yeah.
And then you have the Queens of the Stones where it's like so to a T. It's on specific songs. I mean, there's obviously improvisation and whatnot, but they are so clean, you
Oh
know?
yeah. And what I love about Queens is that like with Make It With You, right? They do
Yeah.
that improv section.
Yeah,
It's
right, right.
so tight.
Yeah.
It's like it's not tight as in calculated and cold and lifeless,
Right,
but
but
it's tight as in it's warm and it's like
hmm
getting hugged.
right, right. And you can see that they are gelling so
Oh yeah.
well. Like the relationships within the band on stage is like one of the best live. They so like it was interesting because of Tool's Lull, as I'm sure you've known and experienced, that like Lateralis had just come out right when I was in like high school, and then I was waiting for 10,000 Days, and then of course the like what is it, 15 years,
Yeah.
16 years. And that's how I was like, not that I ever stopped appreciating their music, but it was like there was nothing new, so I had to find something else. And I think
Oh
that was
yeah.
right when like Clockwork came out. So then I like really deep dive into Queens of Stone Age, saw them like they're probably neck and neck. I've probably seen them maybe like 10 times,
Oh, you're lucky.
somewhere around there.
I'm gonna go see them my second time because they're playing a festival set in
Okay.
Atlanta.
Yeah, it's
So
worth it. It
yeah,
doesn't matter how long.
it's that's what I was thinking about. Is it worth it? But funnily enough, Queens are why I got into interviewing because I did my first
Okay.
interview and I said, screw it, I want to interview. I want to interview Troy because he's my
Right.
favorite guitarist.
Yeah,
And
he's
I
good.
emailed him and I got a no. Like duh. But it
Hey,
was
you got to shoot the. Honestly, it's worth keep trying. Why
oh yeah,
not?
she's been super nice. What's it? The nasty little man PR. I'm repping
Okay.
y'all because everyone always talks shit about them.
Mhm.
Everyone's always like they're so mean. But I've talked to them a bunch of times because they have like all the biggest names,
Right.
and they are super nice. And they're always like, let's try to figure something out.
Mhm.
Just
Right.
I'll let you know if anything's available. Which
Right.
is
Right.
they're super open about it, and it's super beautiful to see. I
Yeah.
forgot her name. Ah, crap. I don't remember her name, but you're a real one. Okay, you're a real one. Super nice person. So we're at the 6 minute mark ish. So I'm gonna give you a big question, and
Hmm.
then you've got 6 minutes. Okay,
All righty.
you got to give me three songs, three albums, three whatevers. Okay, so and this is up to your interpretation. So some people have done um three songs, three albums, and then three books, right? Or you can do a book, a hobby, and your favorite vinyl. Or you
All
can
right.
do, it's whatever topics,
Three
just three is the
songs.
magic number.
Well, I'll give my three songs just in the spirit of it. Numa is like still probably. It's hard to go between Numa and. Here, well, I'll go. I'll give my top three Fear Inoculum tracks. So Numa, Descending, and Fear Inoculum are definitely my
No
threes.
Invincible?
It doesn't top those three for me. And
No.
like in terms like Fear Inoculum and Descending are like or Numa and Descending for me are just I don't know if I like the like that crescendo and Descending more or that like insane ending of Numa. Like I got to give it to Numa because Numa the first time I listened to the album when that song hit, it was like what is happening? And then you think that that song kind of like ends. It's like it would seem like it's like a normal ending, and then that
Yeah.
ripping like speed it up like
Push us back.
crazy.
Best
So
part of
that
Tool.
I think that it's Numa, Descending, Fear Inoculum, then maybe Invincible. That it's hard to rate that one
Yeah.
as slowly grown. Like Lateralis was my favorite, and then like 10,000 Days still solid, Anima still solid, but like Lateralis was like as a conceptual art
Yeah.
driven thing was like a perfect little package, you know.
Oh
And
yeah.
now slowly Fear Inoculum has like whenever I go to listen to them, I always want to throw something off Fear Inoculum. Like even if I want to like listen to some heavier Anima era undertone, I'm like it's not itching that scratch, you know.
I know how it is, man. When I shower to Invincible, honestly,
Yeah, that's a good
because
one. The
that's
ending
one
of
of my
that one
favorite
too.
tracks.
Uh-huh.
Just because like it's you're like really headbanging,
Right.
da.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
It's
Tool's
some
awesome, man.
yeah, no, they're so good.
And
To say the
I
least.
really apologize that this is like Tool's taking up our full conversation,
Hey,
but
it is. I mean, it is what it
they're
is.
great. And yeah, again, I really want to touch on your art because you are I mean, again, I can't wait to see what you've done. I know you're doing t-shirts now, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna tell you what I'm praying that you do. I'm really hoping that you get with Queens of the Stone Age and you do a
I
gig poster
that's
for them.
I hope so. I have
Please.
maybe possibly an avenue. So one of the other I will throw this out. One of the other artists gave me an avenue. I've
Mhm.
reached out. It's Radio Silence, but I might have another. I'm gonna try. I will try.
Please. And if you have a say in it, ask him to do the Shaky Knees Festival poster, okay?
Yeah, there you go.
Because they don't do festival posters, I'm afraid. Tool does.
Yeah,
But
sometimes it's like probably just a logistical thing, just from the little glimpse that I've
yeah.
seen into it. Like there are people that are intermediaries I found where they will work with, they'll have like say 10 artists.
Mhm.
They are the ones with Tool. I know it's in shop. Like, I mean, Adam reached out and that's how they orchestrated it. And they have their people that work with you that do the,
Oh, that's so
I just
cool.
send my artwork to someone. They do the like graphic design part of it.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah.
So I think it depends. It's like it was just like a logistical kind of thing, you know?
Mm. Well, I really hope you do because Queens is still on a crazy tour. I think until August.
I have a feeling they're going to tour for a while. Like
I
from
think they said
the,
2 to 3 years.
okay, yeah, because I remember Josh was saying how he like all the turmoil that was going on in his
Mm.
life, and then he just was sick again. I think they said he had like a cancer
Yeah, it's
diagnosis,
crazy.
and right. So I think he like, I just got the gist. He's like either using this as therapy or just kind of going gung ho and
Mhm.
touring as much as possible. So, but yeah, that would be like again. I said it earlier. Like I'm already. I've reached. I don't know what to do
Ride
now.
the high. Come on, ride the
Yeah,
high.
man. I
Let's
don't
get
know.
let's get Mastodon. Let's get
There we go.
was it
I will
what's
say
another band
yes.
you could really Mr. Bungle would go crazy with
Yeah,
your art.
yes, 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 please.
But if you do any like shirts, especially like I love it when artists do specific like long sleeves, and there's
Okay.
be like a like tattoo sleeves, but it's
I
just
know.
like an art sleeve.
I got
Like,
to, so I went through like reached out to local people. I would really prefer to have done silk screening, but the logistic
oh, I
nightmare of
know.
it. And Threadless, I will say they're the direct to print, so it's like by order, they ship it out, they print it, but the quality was the best. And honestly, the quality was better than some of the stuff that silk screening was capable. I'm like a
Oh,
printmaker by trade. You can get I prefer the look. I prefer the fact that it's this handmade cool thing.
yeah, I like the mess ups, the screw ups.
Right, right, exactly. The misregistrations, but the direct to print did have they've apparently made. I was talking to another artist who does this, and he was saying like even 2 years ago it was not as good. It's
Uh,
gotten a little rough, or it was a little
um,
rough. It's gotten much better.
mm. Well, hey, I don't want to get cut off, so
Right
it
on.
was awesome. It was awesome talking to you. Please, if you have any album recs or anything or anything, if you're doing please let me know, okay? Because it's
Right
always
on.
it's
Right
always
on.
awesome. And
Hmm.
hopefully I bump into you, man. If you're ever at a Queens show or just at a show in Georgia, let me know, okay?
Right on.
Because it's always awesome. Nice to see you.
Yeah, dude. Thanks. Thanks for having me on.
Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.